sits on the board as well. So that unique mix of owners and building trades and organizations really comes together, I think, to give us the kind of skill set and talent that we need to be able to put the program in place that actually is building contractor capacity.
Well, it certainly seems like you've got some very key players to join in on this effort. How did this idea come about? Were you the brainchild of it, or was there a group of you that came
Well,
together?
I'd love to say that I was the brainchild of it, but it wouldn't be fair and it wouldn't be true.
All right.
But I'd love to take credit for it. No, Dan mentioned that early on he was involved in talks with OSF.
All right.
Mike Chahowski, I should mention, and I think I may have left his name off because we mentioned the company so many times, but Mike Chahowski, who was the Senior Vice President of Engineering with OSF, was the person who really had a vision for this from that organization's standpoint. And really did not want to do something that was just really opportunity driven or goals based, but wanted to help build sustainability and capacity in the local contractor and workforce community. Mortensen Construction, by the way, who heads up that project for them over there, also has a non-voting member on the board, Bill Greger, and he had a similar passion. It happens that Kelly Peterson and myself were also working in the area of trying to put together an incubator program. And we sat down to the table with Mike and some others from his organization, and Clyde Gully, City Councilman Gully, and others. And we heard the things that we needed to hear to really get on board with this and say that this is the kind of effort that we would like to get behind. And specifically, that had to do with wanting to build sustainability in the workforce and in the construction industry, rather than just do something that was opportunity driven. And what so often happens, and Bill Greger pointed this out, is that there's a lot of construction that goes on, and then people leave. The construction's finished, the job's done, and there may not have been any measurable sustainability built in any particular companies, or workers might not have gotten an appreciably better feel for really what they need to do, or may not have gotten any more numbers involved in the trades on an ongoing or long-term basis. We wanted to do something about that, and so that was really kind of the impetus and where it started, the idea behind it, and the rest really has just been building a consensus around that. So we started with a strategic plan and developed a consensus toward a shared vision and mission and a set of broad goals and specific measurable objectives we wanted to achieve, and a detailed action plan, and we've gone forward from there and been pretty successful.
Well, I tell you, I'm amazed and thrilled to hear the things that you're saying and the direction that you and this organization are trying to carry our community. Can you share with our viewers something about your background and how you got involved in whatever you're doing and that type of a thing?
I will. I'd rather talk about our client contractors, and I'm sure I'll get a chance to do that. And if I don't, then Kelly will. But my background is I was born in Peoria. I am a Peoria native.
So
I was born at Methodist Hospital. Yes.
Fantastic.
My father was the oldest living son of 12 children born to Lee and Josephine Williams, who raised their 12 children at 519 East Paris in Peoria Heights. So I'm proud to say that Lee and Josephine Williams are my grandparents. But I wasn't raised in Peoria. I didn't grow up here. And I moved back to Peoria, my wife and I, it'd be 4 years ago in June, from Atlanta, after living in Atlanta for about 25 years. So that's what brings me back to the Peoria area, really is the opportunity to work with something that's involved with community transformation.
Well, speaking in behalf of the community, and particularly the minority community, I'm glad that you came back. I know there's always been a concern, even for those that grow up here and go to school. There's like what we call the black brain drain, that they go other places, and many times they go other places because that's the only opportunities that they really have had to. And some of them do come back, but I'm so glad that you're back, and I'm glad that you're trying to make a difference in this community for everyone, and particularly as it relates for minority contractors and minorities to get involved in the construction trades. I know we often talk about the need for education and training, and for many, going off to college is almost becoming unaffordable. Although I tell people, if you don't think you can afford an education, boy, you ought to see how much ignorance is going to cost you. But I encourage people to look at the building construction trades, because that's something that not only do you not have to pay your money for, but you're paid while you're in training as an apprentice and that type of thing. So that's a real alternative for people of color as well as for others. So I'm glad to see that we're talking about putting something in place that will be sustainability and won't just be kind of a little one-shot deal and is over and everybody go back and that type of a thing.
The goal, can I touch on that a little?
Yeah.
The goal always was to get to the employee side. Some of the obstacles that we ran into with the contractor side of it going to set us back a bit as far as time, but we now are at that point, and one of the great things happened to us is when Bashar Ali came on board with Workforce and was able to bring us a lot of names of applicants that would be in a position that could become a part of the work side of it. And we're very excited about that. That's going to be starting up fairly soon, and we have quite a few of the trades that I've already talked to. He mentioned Mike Everett. Not only is he on our board, but Mike is the president of my council. He's actually my boss, so he is very close to this, and the electricians are looking at this very hard, and we're really hoping to bring at least 10 to 15 probably in within the first year that we can find a place. With the low work level right now and the economy, it's not fair to bring these folks in and not have a place for them to work. So we're going to take this a little step at a time, get them prepared for it, and then when the time's right, they can step in and go.
And one of the things I would add to that, Dan, and Mike is famous for saying this, is that our goal with regard to the employee side of this is to bring them to journeyman status. So that's what we mean when we say sustainability. We want them to be able to build sustainable careers in the construction industry. That really would mirror our contractor development program. And you mentioned training and education. We've put together, with a great deal of due diligence, a local contractor development program that I personally believe is second to none. And there are 12 program areas that we cover in wanting to identify the deficiencies and then build capacity in these businesses. And we want to do the same thing on the workforce side, where we're actually trying to discover what are the deficiencies, where are the areas where we have the expertise or the skill sets to help shore those deficiencies up, and then help them build sustainability from there. But there are 12 program areas, and I encourage all of your viewers to take a look at our website and to get a little bit more in-depth information. But we cover everything from bonding and insurance to safety and risk management and joint venturing, obviously union participation, sales and marketing, all of these different types of things that the average business person, because they're so focused working on their business, never really have time to, or we should say working in their business, never really have time to work on their business. And so we help build that capacity around them.
A few years ago, I worked with Kimberly King with the city on a program similar, and the things we ran into are the same things that we are now. As you had a person that was starting a company that was a skilled tradesman, but had no business training, or was a good business person but didn't understand the field or the other things. And that's why this thing is so good, is because we can offer what's needed to fill that hole.
Right. I know I was just talking to a person, I guess it was yesterday, and he was talking about what a tremendous cook he was, and he wanted to operate a restaurant. I said, well, there's a big difference between operating a restaurant and being a cook. In fact, if you, are successful enough, you can hire a cook, because what you need to do is run the business and market the business and do the paperwork and so forth.
That's right.
So, there are a set of skills that because you're a good carpenter or a plumber, that's the basis of understanding business, but there's a whole lot of things then that go when you want to then become your own contractor and that type of a thing.
Absolutely.
Well, I am so delighted to, first of all, meet you, Andre, and I'm glad to find out that you are a PRN, and Dan, it's always good to see you. It's been a while since our paths have crossed, but I feel very comfortable and very confident that with the leadership of the two of you, as well as all the other people that you've named, that this is going to be a doable and a successful thing, and it will be sustainable. This is something that, I always tell people to try to make your legacy outlive your body. Even when the two of you are no longer on the scene, you planted the seeds for something to continue on into eternity, hopefully, and that's the real key. I know we're going to be talking in the second segment with two other individuals, and who are the other individuals that I'll be talking with?
Kelly Peterson, who is a board member and is the CEO of Absolute Risk Management Strategies, was one of the authors of this program, does a lot of tremendous work in our contractor development program.